And welcome back to another episode of Shadow the Apple. Welcome back. Today we are going to be recapping the New York Mets versus the Arizona Diamondbacks and the New York Yankees versus the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm once again joined by Ryan, and it wasn't really a fun weekend for either of us.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. The Yankees ended up getting swept in Milwaukee. There's a lot of conversation there, but maybe the Yankees can't beat good teams, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, and only the second time the Yankees have gotten swept this season. So, you know, um, obviously there's so many games in a baseball season, things can happen. So obviously it's just one of those series where things are not going well.
Yeah, no, a lot didn't go well. Um, I guess we'll start with the Yankees. I'll talk about that series. Yeah, so like you said, it's only the second time they got swept this year. Only the third time they've lost the series. The first game, I kind of predicted it a little bit. In the last episode against Jacob Mizorowski, the Yankees had no answer for anything that he was throwing. It was a rough watch. He's a really good pitcher. I feel like he's up there possibly with Paul Skeens as the best pitcher in the National League, the best starting pitcher. And I feel like he doesn't get talked enough a lot. Maybe because he's in Milwaukee. I'm not sure, but he's really good. The Yankees had nothing. They ended up losing that game. Uh, and then game two and three, they ended up getting walked off both times. It was just a series where nothing went right. Like they just forgot the fundamentals again. The bullpen really showed how weak it can be. There were some close games when the offense, 2 and 3, the offense put up some runs, and the bullpen just couldn't hold it. The offense, they have put up a lot of runs in most of their games this year, but they're not going to always put up, six or more runs every game. So the pitching has to be strong. The rotation has shown that they can be, but the bullpen is going to need some improvement as the year goes on. Um, Game three, they had a 1-0 lead first pitch. Paul Goldschmidt sent the ball over the wall. They're up 1-0. Um, what else happened that game? Oh yeah, forgot to mention Aaron Judge hit his 15th home run in the second game too. No, actually, I'm wrong. He hit it in the third game. I'm all over the place right now. But yeah, so the Yankees were trying to win that game. They couldn't. Spencer Jones ended up getting his first hit and an RBI. They were up 2-0. They ended up David Bednar came in extras and gave up a walk-off home run. So just not a lot positivity to talk about. Carlos Rodon made his first start of the year. He returned. He was looking pretty good until he hit that low pitch count that he was on because he didn't have a full spring training. So it kind of hit him in the fourth inning. He gave up some runs. Gave up two walks and a hit by pitch, sac fly, RBI base hit. So that's something to look at as when his next start comes. Pitch count will be higher, and hopefully he'll be back in the normal groove of pitching every fifth day.
Yeah, with the first start, you can't really complain if a pitcher gives up 3 or 4 runs.
Yeah.
So, tough series for the Yankees. I think they'll be just fine. They're playing the Orioles next.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then is there? I would say that I'm not sure if there's a lot whole to mention about that series. It was pretty brief. I know the games were pretty close for the most part in games 2 and 3.
Yeah, the first game, the Yankees ended up losing 6-0. Yeah,
Yeah.
they scored nothing. They weren't the offense had no chance. But yeah, the second and third game were close. They're both final score 4-3. But yeah, so there's been talk about can the Yankees beat good teams? I've seen that conversation after the series. It's early. The Yankees have only really played American League teams, and as we discussed last time, there's barely any teams in the American League over 500.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
so as the year goes on, teams the Yankees did beat, like the Rangers and the Mariners, are probably going to end up over 500. So
Yeah.
that number will change as the year goes on. So I don't think it's anything to worry about. I don't think it's really a discussion. It's more just overreactions.
Yeah. I think the Yankees will just be fine.
Yeah.
Um, a team that is not fine though is the Mets after winning in extras with Mark Vientos' double, who has been playing pretty good recently. I'd say before I get into like the negatives, I can just get into like the small positives. So I would say Mark Vientos has been playing a lot better recently. Um, he's right now he's currently batting 231 with 5 home runs, 16 RBIs, and a 693 OPS. Um, but is stretch recently. He's probably been arguably um, their second best hitter on their team. Um, and I'll say that Nolan McLean and Clay Holmes have been really good pitchers for the New York Mets this year. They've been one of the few bright spots for this year, and they've kept them in games, and they kept them in Friday and Saturday. But that's the last positive thing I really have to say about the Mets right now. They lose just in a tight game on Saturday, but once again, it's the same problems that we've been talking about that the Mets have just had no offense whatsoever. Um, their offense has been historically bad. I mean, it's ranked among the worst. I mean, they're averaging 3.3 to 3.5 runs a game, making it the second to third lowest scoring offense in MLB. And when you look at this lineup, it just makes sense why. You really see it. Like I mean, you have Austin Slater batting third, and and he's has a 551 OPS. He's meant to rake against lefties, but he hasn't done anything, and he's batting third. Um, so I don't know what they're doing. They have Andy Ibanez in this lineup. Marcus Semien is batting fifth in this lineup. It's just really like it's crazy how bad this lineup has turned out to be. And I mean, I honestly I got curious because I was thinking like I looked back at the opening day lineup and I really thought to myself like, and I asked myself, was this lineup this bad or is it supposed to be this bad? And I look back at the opening day lineup, and I mean, the more you think about it, they were banking on a lot of players to overachieve and at least be league average or at least stay healthy, and almost none of those things have happened for this Mets lineup. I mean, you have Austin Slater batting over MJ Melendez, who's been one of their better hitters this year, and that's saying something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we mentioned that a little bit in like the first episode that we ended up losing. That the Mets lineup and like the whole team in general just was banking on a lot of question marks. You know, a lot of young players taking the next step, or a lot of veterans not playing worse than they have, or even getting better. But we were talking about it yesterday. We said, I said like this on paper, the Mets lineup looks like they shouldn't be as bad as they are right now. They have dealt with some injuries, obviously. Two of their best hitters, Soto and Lindor, taking turns on the injured list. But overall, it doesn't, you feel like they should at least be in the race for a wild card spot right now.
Yeah, I mean, and I think I was watching other people talk about this team, and I think the basis of this team is that they're just not as good. They're just not that good. I think there's a good chance that like 90% of the season's over. They're gonna really need a lot of things to happen. But the consensus of this team is that this team really just isn't that good. Um, and it's disappointing when you see other teams like the Phillies who fire their manager and start to play a lot better, and this team is still banking on Carlos Mendoza. Um, I really think you got to do some kind of change. And even though I don't blame most of this on Mendoza, I do think something has to change. But I mean, if it doesn't, I mean, there's nothing that as Met fans that we can do at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I remember you also mentioned like David Stearns dumpster diving in the past. I saw today. I'm pretty sure they acquired the contract of a player on the Long Island Ducks.
I
Like,
remember in 2025 during the second half of 2025, it was almost every day they were making roster changes. I mean, they, I don't know. I think David Stearns thinks he can make anything out of nothing. Um, and sometimes it's worked. Like it worked really. It really only worked. Majority of his signings really only worked in 2024 when they signed Severino, and they signed Sean Manaea, and they had Harrison Bader, who were all on like 1 year deals, 2 year deals, and performed pretty well. But he just hasn't. It hasn't worked past that year, um, and it's just kind of annoying to watch because like it's just it's like looking for scraps. Like it's like dumpster diving. It's literally dumpster diving, and it's just so frustrating to watch when you see a team that had definitely there's pieces that and they show that they could be good. And the pitching is a great example of that, but there's just so much like incompetence from the manager to the GM. So um, that's really my synopsis on this team. This team is just I don't really think this team is that good.
Yeah, I saw someone say, I don't know when it was or where it was, but they were basically saying if the Mets, and I agree, if the Mets can get to 500 before the All Star break, then they have a realistic chance at getting a wild card spot and sneaking in. And who knows what can happen then? So I mean, I wouldn't say the season's over. It's May,
Yeah, I say
but
that's 90% over, just because they would need to go on a really long winning streak to just even get back to
mhm.
500. I mean,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just the team hasn't shown any sorts of life. Like at least like maybe like 2 years ago, there was a stretch where the team wasn't playing that good. Like obviously the team started 0-5, but then there was a point where they started actually playing better. And even when that team went through the horrible May, it did. It still showed life before in the past. This Mets team really hasn't showed life at all. I mean, past the first 2 weeks of the season, the Mets team hasn't really. The Mets team just hasn't shown life. So I mean, you got to see something because there's barely any signs. And I mean, they're just at this point, and there's sometimes they're playing players that don't deserve to be playing over guys that probably should be playing every day so they can get better, like Brett Beatty, for example. Like Abanya's getting starts over Brett Beatty. It just doesn't make sense to me. I know he's supposed to hit lefties, but is Brett Beatty that bad against lefties? There's no way Andy Abanya's could be that much better against Brett Beatty at hitting lefties.
yeah, I mean, for for something to happen, the Mets would obviously have to a lot would have to happen. I mean, there'd have to be a lot of changes, and the team itself would have to obviously start playing significantly better.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, couldn't have said it better. I mean, so, but you know what? It's okay because the New York Knicks have kept me
Mhm.
busy, and they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they might bring a championship back to New York because the Sixers suck. So that was something to be happy about. Um, all week. So I at least that made me happy.
Yeah, the takeover in Philadelphia was crazy.
Yeah, there was I don't know if you saw the reporter of trying to like do a report about the Sixers season ending and the whole Knicks fan base just like showering her and just and getting in front of the camera. Um I don't think there's a more diehard fan base in basketball than the Knicks, man.
Yeah, I saw another clip of before one of the games, the Sixers were trying to get just a chant going, and as soon as they were like, yeah, they did a countdown, and as soon as it started, all you heard were boos from Knicks fans.
Yeah, it's. I mean, obviously, you know, this is a baseball podcast, but
Hmm.
there's been so much going on that I think I still want to mention it just because it's something that's going on that's relevant to New York sports, and I'm a big Knicks fan. The Knicks were really bad most of my like early childhood up until 2021. So seeing the Knicks finally be good is pretty special. Um, and that actually raises a debate that I always feel like on who is a better player, New York player, because you know people talk about the best players in New York, and there's always a debate between who is more impactful to New York or who's better for their team. Is it Jalen Brunson or is it Aaron Judge?
Yeah, um, I feel like the question that's usually asked is who was the king of New York,
Yes,
and
that's who's the king in New York. And personally, my opinion, I think it's Jalen Brunson because Jalen Brunson like saved the New York Knicks. I mean, obviously Randall was there and he got the Knicks out of the trenches, but Brunson has taken the Knicks to a whole nother level. The Yankees, obviously Judge was a big part of their new era of players back in like 2017, 2018. But I mean, the Yankees are always going to be good. They've always been pretty good. Then you know, Jalen Brunson has taken the Knicks to a whole nother level.
yeah, I would say if it's not surprising that you would say Jalen Brunson, of course, and it's not surprising that I'm going to sit here and say it's Aaron Judge, but uh, yeah, I mean, if the Knicks do win, it's going to be a much harder debate for anyone on the Judge side or for any other player in New York. But the song that Aaron Judge walks up to says it. Says he's the king of New York. But yeah, I mean, they were, like you said, the Yankees are always going to be good, but they were terrible in 2016 and 2017. He won Rookie of the Year, broke the rookie home run record that was later broken by Pete Alonso. And yeah, I mean, he's the captain of the team. You look at his numbers, compare it to the legends of baseball or just Yankees history. Like his numbers are up there with guys like Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig.
Another thing why I believe it's Brunson is also really because of the fact that the Yankees and the Mets kind of split New York's fan base, but I feel like the Knicks kind of oversee the Nets in every way, shape, or form. Like I'd say Brunson has more of an impact just because I feel like the Knicks fan base represents New York more as a whole because majority of you could say there are more Yankee fans than Met fans. I would say there is way more of Knick fans than Net fans too. So I mean that's another reason why I believe so.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we have our
different opinions.
You can believe who you want to believe, and the Mets and Yankees will play their next series. I believe the Yankees are going to Baltimore.
Yep. Is that correct? Yeah, 3-game series in Baltimore starting tonight.
Can just mention great stadium. Really like Camden Yards. I've been there since 2018.
I love that stadium. Probably my favorite I've been to. I mean, I haven't been to as many as you have, but I think Baltimore might be my favorite.
Yeah, that'd be an episode we can do. I can talk about my personal experiences going to the stadiums I've been to. I've been to a decent amount. But Camden was one of the first I went to. It has great seafood because they're in Baltimore, obviously. So, and then the Mets will be coming back home and playing the Tigers. So, we'll see how everything goes on. I guess one series at a time is all you can really say for the Mets. And the Yankees are going to look to bounce back. They're going to have Jack Flaherty against Peralta and to be determined pitchers for the next 2 games. So, unfortunately, I don't know who the next 2 pitchers are, but they'll be Peralta tomorrow. Yankees play today. So is there anything else you would like to say, Ryan, before we wrap this episode up?
Nope. Just hopefully the Yankees can bounce back against the Orioles, who they just swept at home in a 4-game series. So, I mean, 2 out of 3. A sweep would be nice, but 2 out of 3 realistically I'll be happy with. And, yeah, look to bounce back. And the Yankees are now down, actually, a game in the American League East to the Rays.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Rays. I mean, Rays are always going to be an interesting team every year, no matter what. Even when their roster doesn't look too great, they've overachieved a lot of their years. So, and obviously, hopefully the Mets will obviously 1 series at a time. So that'll wrap things up. Once again, this is Dylan Moltez, Ryan Meyer. Let's go Mets and let's go Knicks.